Hello everyone, this is Gayle, and you can probably see I have some chopped up pieces of clay here on my table. I'm getting ready to do another tutorial, and I'm going to be covering a wooden acorn shaped box, or it's not really a box, but anyway. And I decided I'm going through my old canes, and I found this old cane, which is actually something that I did at one of my very first workshops. It was Donna Cato, and this is all Cato clay. And if it was Donna Cato, then that means it's probably 20 years old. And I love Cato clay because it is still workable. But that's not the purpose of this. Anyway, I was going to use this to cover the top of my acorn, and I got to thinking that you would probably want to know how to do this. Now, this is what Donna uses, if you can see that. What she does is she takes, and it lasts forever, that's why it's so old. Take a thin slice, and then you take a thin slice off of that, and that's what she uses for, well, I just broke it because I did it really thin, which is what I needed to do. But let me just cut it a little bit at an angle. I'm going to leave it on here, but see how that's the shape? And what she would do would be to lay this down on a sheet of clay and use that as a branch, and then she would have flowers and let me come in a little bit. You can see that she would use that as a branch, and it really looks like wood when you cut off a little bitty piece like that. But I got to thinking that you would probably like to know how we made this. So I've been trying to remember, and I'm going to cut, this is burnt umber. I'm going to chop this up, and I thought I would show you how to chop it. I'll chop the other half. Well, actually, I'll just chop this. See what I've got. But I slice it into slices. Let me move over just a little bit. My camera's gotten all out of whack, and I don't know why. But with all the things I do in my craft room now, there's no telling how it got bumped or moved or whatever. I even do my Sunday school classes virtually here on my computer on Sunday morning, since we're not meeting because of the pandemic. We have a Zoom Sunday school. But you can see I just slice it, and as much as you can slice it, and then I go back with a stiff blade and just chop it up. So what I'm going to use I'll use this brown. I'm going to use some gold, and I got all of this out of my scrap bin. So this is a good way to use up your scraps. I might just use all the gold. We'll make it a lighter wood. And I'm going to take a few pieces of black. And I don't think I'll put any more black in it. And then this is actually gold glitter. I was looking for something that had a little bit of a sparkle to it. And you see, this hasn't been chopped up very well, but we're going to chop it again. And I'm going to move it all in together. Now, if you don't like chopping by hand, You can use a food processor, the little small portable food processors. But chop it up as small as you can, because the smaller you chop it, the more natural this is going to look. Alright, so I think that's chopped enough. Let me move it all up into one little pile. And I'm going to start pressing it together. And I'm going to make it into a block. And I'm going to try to make it as square as I can, not because it makes a difference, but I'm also compressing the sides with my blade. So I'm going to take this and roll it out. Now I know it doesn't look like wood yet. This is another thing I use a lot when I do something like this. It's a pastry scraper, and it is on my Amazon page if you might be interested in one. I like it because it saves the edge on your blade, so you're not using your blade to move this stuff. But it was also good when I was chopping up all these pieces, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bowls of chopped up clay. Now I've got my tile sitting here because I was chopping on the tile, and it's also sliding because it's on my glass surface. And let me just roll it out. And what I'm doing is trying to roll it to where it's going to be thin enough to go through my pasta machine on the thickest setting. You don't want to strain your pasta machine. So if you can get it twice as thick, let me get these out of the way. If you can get it twice as thick before you put it in your pasta machine, you'll be right. And see, you can see how thin I rolled it. So now I am going to put it through my pasta machine. Actually, I'm going to square up the sides again first, because I don't want a lot of ragged edges on this. So excuse the noise. Matter of fact, I'll turn the noise off while I'm rolling the pasta machine. Okay, so I rolled it through once on the thickest setting. And I'm going to cut it in half and stack. And I'm going to cut it in half again. Let me cut this little end off. I cut it in half again and stack. And I may even do it this way. I'm going to go ahead and make it into a little block. And then I'm just compressing it so it's all together into a little solid block. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut it on the diagonal. And I'm going to put it back together, but I'm going to put it back together this way so that the grain is going in different directions. Can you see that? This one's going this way and this one's coming this way. Put it back into a square. Okay, and now I'm going to take this square and I'm going to cut it diagonally this way and then put it together so it makes a triangle. I know you're thinking this is all kind of crazy, but it does turn out. And this is all scrap clay, and that's what she recommended using, was scrap clay. So we've got this triangle now. And what I'm going to do is reduce this triangle. And I probably could have reduced this some more, I mean, before I got to this point. And I find the best, for me, I don't know what your best way is, but my best way of reducing a triangle is to just turn it on end and press down and then press in, because you want to come out this way. So I just keep turning and pressing and pulling. And you see it's beginning to get longer. Now, I'm not going to take the time to do this several times. Or at least I won't do it on camera, but I'm going to cut this in half. And let's see, do I want to do it that way? I want these patterns to go in different directions again. And then I want to press it back into a triangle. And we're going to reduce it again. And you just keep doing this until your pattern is as small as you like it. And you can see this pattern is nowhere near as small as this pattern. You would have to do this, oh, I don't know, 5 to 10 times before it was actually small enough. I'll do it a couple more times, just stretching it out. And each time you do it, the grain is going to get a little bit smaller. I'll just put this together. Isn't that pretty with that little bit of sparkle in it? And you can see the grain is getting smaller. And you just keep repeating this process. Now I'm going to just assume, or maybe I'll go ahead and finish it. Let me go ahead, because it's not going to be a very long video anyway. So let's get it back into a triangle. A right triangle would really work well. And you just have to kind of finagle it as you go along. Just repairing the split at the top. So again, I'll cut it in half. And it's just not quite small enough yet. So let me do it. Let's see, that's the way it came apart. I'll just put it together this way. And again, press it down on your surface, turn it back into a triangle. And this will be the last time I'll do this, and the grain may not be as small as this one, but you'll get the idea. in this way you get to see the process of putting together your scrap colors and coming up with something useful. Like I said, I've had these. This has been my cane for, well, like I said, 20 years. I don't use it that much. But when I've needed something for a tree branch or something that I was doing that, you know, I needed a little piece of something that looked like wood, I always went back to that. So you don't want this to be huge. You don't need a big cane because it'll last forever. Alright, now I've gone down. I would probably do this maybe 2 more times, but for the sake of time, I'm going to put this back together. Only this time I'm going to make it into a square instead of a triangle. And just do it slowly because you're changing the shape. There, it looks like it's back into a square. Just smooth out all your sides. And one thing you can do, let me see how this looks. This is how it looks. What I would probably do at this point is to make this into a long square and cut it into 4 pieces. That's what I would do. I don't know if Donna would do that, but I've learned a lot since I took this class from her. Let me roll it a little bit. I've been pulling on it, so now it's time to roll. I like to get this long enough to put into 4 slices. Seems to me she did something else with triangles, and I don't remember exactly what it was she did, but I've learned through the years that you don't have to do it exactly like they show you in the tutorial on something like this. You're not looking for an exact product. So let me cut this in half. And I'm going to turn it. And cut this in half. And turn it. And then make this into a square. Just trying to get all the seams on the inside pressed together. And there you go. There's my sparkly tree branch. So I'm sorry this wasn't a finished project. I am going to use this, I think, in my project that I'm going to be making my regular tutorial in. But I just wanted you to see this, and hopefully you can make your own. And this would be your branch. You could take it, slice a thin slice, and this is really too soft to be. And there would be your little wood grain branch that you could add to your project. Be nice when you're making fairy houses. If you want to make branches, you could roll it like this and then turn it into a little vine on your fairy house. There's so much you can do with this cane. So I hope you like this. My time is really short here nowadays because of the COVID thing, because I'm having hip issues. I'm going to physical therapy twice a week, and my time is very limited, but I did want to take time to make this video for you. So I hope you enjoyed it. Come back and watch the other tutorial, which will be on my regular channel. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.